Hi, Gene here with my thoughts for today, and today we'll be talking about our friends on the left, the Democrats, the liberals. They are moving more and more to the left, and they are becoming more and more, illogical, emotional, we could even say unhinged. Don't get me started on Trump derangement syndrome and a reflexive opposition to anything that Donald Trump says or does, including things such as restricting working against unlawful immigration, which we will kind of be touching on tangentially today, that they used to support, but once Trump supports it, they're against it. But we're going to talk about, we'll be adding a new term today, a new adjective that I don't think I've heard it, but depraved, how depraved the left, some of the left, have become. And I'll be providing two examples. One of them is, former reporter or columnist for writer or something or other for the Washington Post. I'm not a regular reader of the Post. I don't know exactly what she did there, but Taylor Lorenz, she has a Substack now, I believe. And then Chris Van Hollen, who is a United States Senator, represents Maine. Those are the two people. We'll start with Taylor Lorenz. Now, I'm not going to bore you with a long video, and to be honest, I'm too lazy to dig it up. But I think, I don't think you'll enjoy it. You'll get the point that she was on the Sean Hannity show, and she was asked about Luigi Mangione. Now, if you don't remember, he is the young man who gunned down the head of a health insurance company in cold blood in front of, I got to start that all over, allegedly to gun down, even though we have him on tape shooting this guy in the back, this executive, but I have to say allegedly. So allegedly, because there has been no trial. The trial will be coming, and this is America. He's innocent as of today until proven guilty. Don't sue me. Alleged, okay? Alleged. And he, and she was asked to condemn, can she condemn this cold-blooded killing? Obviously he was killed, regardless of who did it. Nothing to do with whether whoever did it, condemn the killing of the cold-blooded murder of somebody, and of this executive, and she would not answer the question. She would not answer she did answer, but her answer over and over was, I care about 70,000 people not having health insurance. And Sean Hannity pushed and pushed and pushed. Can you not say that was wrong? Shooting this person down, murder, and because he was murdered. Again, we don't know who by who. We don't know by whom, but he was murdered, and she would not condemn it. So that's example one, number one. Number two is, I'll throw in another one just real quickly, because you may remember three university presidents of Yale, Harvard, and one more. I don't remember the other one, but they were testifying before Congress, and Elise Stefanik do they understand the the president, Claudine Gay, the now former president of Harvard, anti-Semitism on the Harvard campus, calling for an intifada, and she admitted, this president, that, as I recall, that's a call for the mass murder of Jews in Israel. And does that violate Harvard's code of conduct? And Claudine Gay would not say that it did. And so either she would not say it, and there was Yale said, you have depends on the context, yada, yada. They were all liberals. See, there's another example. This total lack of moral sense. And it's really, getting back to Taylor Lorenz, now Chris Van Hollen. Now, this is a really egregious example. He is a United States Senator from Maryland, sorry. And he has two interesting constituents. One of them is Rachel Morin's mother, who was murdered the mother of Rachel Morin. Rachel Morin was a constituent too, but she's dead. She was murdered by an unlawful alien. And then you have this other guy whose name I keep forgetting, but you know who I mean. I'm not going to look him up. The guy who is now the El Salvadoran citizen, member of MS-13. I was going to say MSNBC, but the Freudian slip. But he could very well be a talking head or a guest on MSNBC. That's how depraved the left is. MSNBC, in case you didn't know it, they are very left wing. Anyways, he's the guy that got because of him. He got deported to El Salvador. He's an El Salvadoran citizen. He is in that notorious prison in El Salvador, and Chris Van Hollen wants him back, returned to the United States. There was a mistake in the paperwork, and this is what is to understand, just a clerical, basically, error, and he claimed asylum. This guy, MSM, two judges, confirmed by two judges, and Pam Bondi, the Attorney General for the United States, put out the paperwork document showing this guy was a member of MSNBC, of MS-13, of MSNBC MS-13. Let's just, be honest. But he was a member of that gang, and his wife had put in at least two complaints against him for domestic violence. Okay, this is the guy we're talking about, and this is who Van Hollen is calling an innocent man. He just did. He's on tape doing that too. I won't bore you with that video either. But a judge ruled that he had to be brought back now to the United States. But first of all, the mistake is, as Pam Bondi made very clear, he's deportable. He's not going to be in the United States. What happened was, when he came to this country, he was claiming asylum because he was afraid of being killed by a member of a rival gang in El Salvador. Well, number one, that gang does not exist anymore. Number two, this guy is in a prison. He's in a prison, and I'm sure he's not in a cell with any members or former members of this gang that doesn't even exist anymore. So that's bogus. But all that, the upshot of this is he'd have to come back, and then there's no doubt that he will be deported, just whether he would be deported to El Salvador or to some other country, because he is unlawfully in the country. So I'm not going to sidetrack you with the court cases and all that. That's not germane to what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is that Van Hollen flew all the way to Argentina to try to get him back, and he was not allowed. They did. El Salvadoran government did not allow him to meet this guy. He wanted to meet this prisoner, this MSNBC, MS-13. Well, I guess I should say, I'm joking, MSNBC, so don't sue me. Obviously, this guy does not belong. Is not employed by MSNBC. Okay, MS-13, Freudian slip. That's all it is. But anyways, so Van Hollen was the video I just referred to. That was in El Salvador. He flew to El Salvador, and he said, "Well, I could not see this guy, but this MS-13 gang member, but I'm going to work hard to get him back." Now, that in alone is depraved, but remember I mentioned another constituent, one of his constituents, Rachel Morin's mother. And she was actually, she was in the press conference, the latest press conference, and she was, I don't know why I'm getting old, Levitt, Carolyn Levitt. So she had her there, and the room was just dead silent as she talked about what was done to her daughter, not by the guy who's in El Salvador, but by another unlawful alien. And she wanted to know why her senator was so concerned about that he would fly all the way to El Salvador and make such a cause, a salab, to get this guy back, calling him an innocent man, calling him a Maryland married father or whatever. And he, instead of what he is, MS-13 gang member, proven, to judges. Anyway, that he would fly all the way there for her, but when Rachel Moran's mother, when her daughter was killed, she never got a phone call from Van Hollen. She heard nothing from him. So that, to me, you put the two together, and to me that is the height of depravity, that he would fly all the way to, and he's made numerous statements, and I say make a whole big hoo-ha of this, but fly all the way to El Salvador to get this guy back, but to get back this unlawful alien who's going to be deported anyway, just a question of to where. And on the one hand, and on the other hand, would not even didn't even have time to make a phone call to the mother of her daughter, who was brutally, I mean, I'm not going to give you the details, brutally raped and murdered, by the way, raped and murdered by an unlawful alien. And those two, well, actually we had three today, okay? Van Hollen, Taylor Lorenz, and I guess you can call them three more examples, these presidents of these universities, former president, fortunately, in the case of Claudine Gay, but I don't think the new president so far is proving to be any better. Anyways, that's it for today. If you have any thoughts, I would love to hear them in the comments. Subscribing would really be great. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.